Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I, jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die. So come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we'll make it through. We're coming, we're soaring. We're rising, we're falling, we'll make it through. We're coming, we're soaring. Somewhere by the end we'll see where the moon and water meet. Somewhere close to harmony, when the world is sound asleep. Something's gonna bring a change. Journeys we are meant to take. Something at the edge of space, calling us to fly away. Come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me. We're rising, we're falling, we'll make it through. We're coming, we're soaring. We're rising, we're falling, we'll make it through. We're coming, we're soaring. Come and fly away with me. 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 Don't you be afraid, everything will change. You and I, jumping off the edge. They say dreamers never die. So come and fly, come and fly, come and fly away with me.
Happy Wednesday. We are back. Dave, are you back?
I'm back.
Barely. Am I wearing you out much in Wisconsin?
Oh my God. Are we echoing?
We're kind of echoing.
Too close together.
Anyway, we're down by the green screen down in the basement, and where it's nice and cool. Welcome, everybody. Glad you guys made it in here. We got a great guest tonight. I want to tell you a little bit of news on our end. Some of you might know already, and some don't. A couple weeks ago, Eric hadn't been feeling well, and I took him to our local emergency room, which is pretty much for Band-Aids. And we thought maybe he had Lyme's disease or something. And 2 days later, the blood test came back negative. And then the following week, I had him getting ready to see his regular doctor. And he said, I can't wait. So 5 o'clock in the morning, we were in the car and we were driving south to the town I'm originally from, about 40 minutes south of here. And yeah, my hair is green, Scuba. What the heck? Jade green. And so we spent a couple hours in the emergency room there and we figured out what was going on, and by doing a CT scan. Now, we found out that through our little scenario that we want to tell people, if you don't have a CT scan, then now, again, this is just us not knowing medical field at all, but our scenario that if Eric would have had a CT scan earlier in his days or in the last couple of years, something different would have maybe been able to be seen, because they said we don't have anything to compare it to because he's never had a CT scan that was in his file or had one that he can remember. Anyway, they found a very large tumor on his left kidney. So right now we've been told that Eric has kidney cancer and it's stage 4. So we need a lot of prayers. We need friends and family to, just support us. I'm going to tell you right now, he's out there flying. And Randy's with them, with their instructor. And he was hoping to maybe solo the Cherokee tonight. So he wasn't sure on that. So you can reach out to him later. Don't do it now, but reach out to him later, like after dark. And he's willing to talk, and we're going to fight it. So next Monday, he goes in for a brain scan, and hopefully nothing is traveled up there. He says they're going to be surprised what they find of nothing, but yes, let's hope that there's nothing that's found. And then Thursday, I think it's Thursday, we go see the doctor again for the results, and then we have an educational class, and then it looks like he starts infusions. So we're excited about that. So he's going to get, we've been told he's going to get a lot worse than he is right now, because he's going to get tired, and he's not going to be on chemo right now. They're doing, what is it called? Immunotherapy. And then there's a pill, which we're told it was chemo, but it's not even a chemo pill that he'll do 5 days a week. So he's planning on going to Oshkosh, and he's planning on soloing that Cherokee if he doesn't tonight. So yeah, and he did solo the Cub this last weekend. We surprised him all with that. His instructor messaged me and said, hey, I just want to let you know, but don't tell him, because then he's going to worry about and stress out. And he did 3 or 4 touch and goes. And then his instructor got out and said, okay, now you fly it. And Eric said he got down to the end of the runway, and his instructor said, well, I could tell you were kind of nervous, and you sat there for the longest time, and their radios weren't working really well between the two of them. And he goes, no, I was just sitting there waiting for you to say I was going to go. And then really it was actually, he came out truthfully and said, I was scared. So he did wonderful. He kept doing touch and goes throughout the day. We had a wonderful weekend with those puffy clouds. If you guys did see that on Facebook that I posted. So anyway, yeah, pray for us and send us some good vibes. We need it. And then Deweese has got something. Go off mute.
Yeah, I have a little trivia that's on a better note than what we just heard. But this has got to do with Jade and her little flamingo thing. But I was reading a book today, and it said that flamingos, the eggs have pink yolks, which I didn't know. They have pink yolks. And when the chick is born, the mother, a flamingo mother, secretes or excretes or whatever, a pink milk or a red type of milk, and they feed that to their baby for up to 6 months after they're born. And penguins and pigeons also have a milk that they give to their baby. So I thought that was kind of interesting. That's it.
And Avery says, only if they eat enough shrimp.
Shrimp. Okay. Well, they need to get to eating shrimp.
All right. So we've got, like I said, a great guest tonight. We were chatting with him a little bit before the show. So let's bring in Ryan. Hello there.
Hey, how are you?
Sorry we
Ryan.
took up so much time.
That's okay. I didn't know the thing about the shrimp. Can we fact check Avery? Is anybody fact checking the chat?
Yeah, we know that shrimp are what make them pink. Yeah, we know that, Avery. But we didn't know that they have pink egg yolks and pink milk.
Milk. Yeah, it's called crop milk.
That's
Crop
wild.
milk.
I didn't know that.
Crop milk. Yeah.
So that was something. Oh, and that was something we were. She was looking at while we were in the waiting room today, because my dad had surgery. So the family's kind of a mess. So we're kind of having health issues lately. So anyway, everything pink. Yep. Well, I love flamingos, Avery. So, all right. So, Ryan, welcome. Thank you for taking time tonight to hang out with us, crazy people.
Of course.
Tell us a little bit about yourself, where you live, what you do, if you're willing to tell.
Sure. I live in Charlotte, North Carolina, just outside of Charlotte, North Carolina, on a little farm that I bought last year. That I'm not a farmer. I don't have any animals besides a dog, and I don't grow anything to speak of. Soon that will change. But I'm down here in Charlotte. There are no flamingos anywhere near me that I'm aware of.
Hey.
There is a blue heron that sometimes lives in my pond out here.
But last year there were flamingos in Wisconsin. Did you see that?
No.
Yeah, they flew up with one of the hurricanes.
No kidding. Well,
yeah.
I'll be on the lookout, but so far it's very low. I get a lot of small birds, nothing exotic. So I would have failed the test about the flamingo milk and the flamingo eggs or whatever.
Is it really a farm if it doesn't have animals or you don't grow anything?
It used to be. Yeah, it's hard to say. Now it's just a yard, I guess. But it was a guy. I bought this last year. I used to live in a high-rise condo in the center of the city and of Charlotte, and I had to keep a storage unit for all my paramotor gear and all like my fun stuff, all my toys and my tools and all that fun stuff because it wouldn't fit my condo. And then finally I got tired of going to the thing, loading everything up to go to teach at the flight school and all this stuff back and forth. So I said, I'm going to find a piece of land so I can fly every day, because that's like really the dream, right? I think as paramotor pilots or aviation people, you want to fly as much as humanly possible. So I bought this place with the intent to do that. And then, so I've been down in Charlotte area for about 13 years. I came from the Detroit area up north. I know you're a Packers fan. I'm a Detroit Lions fan. This was the first year I could admit that publicly because it had been rough, right? Prior to this past year and all the success that they had. So I've been down here for about 13 years or so. I work for a giant bank during the day, and nights and weekends I work as one of the owners of Mojo Flight School out of Charlotte that's been around since 2013. Avery in the chat works with us as well. I can see some of our students are in the chat too, so it's great to see everybody out there. And so I just love to fly. I started powered paragliding in 2018. I actually went to Mojos, the place that now I'm part owner of, and I was looking around. I was watching YouTube videos for years, like everybody else. Everybody does it. We all watch YouTube videos. We're like, wow, that looks so cool, but I didn't have the guts, right, to do it. And then I thought, oh, I'll do fixed wing. And then when I started looking into it, it's just a lot, right? So hangar fees and all the certifications and all the stuff. So I said, I'm just gonna look into this powered paragliding thing. And then voila, I found Mojos. And at that time, it was owned by a German guy named Marco, who's the son of Chris Bowles. I don't know if anybody out there recognizes that name, but he's the importer of Fresh Breeze for the United States. And I think his USPPA number was number 4. The USPPA was actually founded in his warehouse. So in Statesville, just about an hour and a half from here. Fun fact. I don't know what was pink. There might have been some pink milk at that. Some, rosé. I think that's pink. I don't know. Maybe they toasted some rosé champagne when they started USPPA. So I did. So I learned from Marco. He had subsequently went back to Germany, and he's actually going to visit this summer. So we're really excited about that, to have him come back and kind of see what's different and all of that fun stuff. But he went back and then sold it to my friend Donald Obst and another guy named Justin, and then Justin sold it to me a couple of years back, probably 3 years ago, 2.5 years ago. So I love it. I don't fly anything except powered paragliders. I fly trikes and foot launch all the time. But that's sort of how I got into it and where I'm at. And it is really hot here. I know that the Midwest and the Upper East is going through a big heat wave right now. They're probably getting what we usually get down here and probably what you're getting in Mississippi when you're there, wheezy, but the gist of it is that it's a hot, sticky summer, but it's starting to calm down. We have light and variable winds. A lot of times it's dead air here. So when you're watching all those cool videos on Facebook and in YouTube of everybody, kiting, where they're just like standing on a street sign, or they're out in the desert, laying on the ground, reverse kiting, we get none of that here. It is dead as a doornail from about right now until the fall. You're lucky if you get a couple miles an hour.
Really?
So yeah, dead air. Most of the time we're in nil wind. And the Carolinas, we get light and variable wind, and there's a lot of trees and a lot of elevation, so there's a lot of rotor. So the summer's beautiful all the way through the fall because you don't really get as much. The thermals die down. You don't get a ton because the wind is virtually dead. So most of the time when we're taking off, we get no help. So the folks that train with us and around us, they have to run hard. They have to run really hard in order to make that happen. So yeah. It's a little bit about.
Red Confetti says it's very difficult for fat students.
He's on a trike. He's doing the trike thing because he's lazy like me. So the thing is that I like to drive myself to the spot, throw my wing on the ground, sit back down, and drive myself into the sky. Right in the summer when it's 90 plus degrees outside and 85% humidity, I have no desire to run. So we do a lot of trike work too, because in the summer it's just so doggone hot that you can't. Yeah. I don't like to. I love to be in the sky foot launch, but I don't like the whole act of getting myself sweaty in the process. So a lot of times I go to trike when it's really hot out. That's what we also do with some of our folks.
Yep, and like PPG Brandon says, nil wind launches are good for learning. Make you earn it.
Yeah, you really, and landings too. The landings are, when you're teaching new people to fly, a lot of times when you're landing where you have, wind, it's a lot softer. It's a lot more gradual. We're coming in at like top speed, right? There's no help. The sock is dead and you're coming in really fast. So people learn, to do that. We always joke around and say that if you can fly in the Carolinas, you can fly anywhere. I mean, I've flown in Florida, I've flown in Utah and the Dakotas and all these places. And where there's wind, it's like so much more fun because you don't have to work as hard, right? And you don't come in super fast and all of that fun stuff. But down here, we're lucky if we get some wind and all of that. I saw in the chat, what part of Detroit area am I from? Yeah. I'm from a little place called Shelby Township, like Rochester area, and on the east side. I've never flown in Michigan. Fun fact. My parents live in Washington, Michigan. I did my undergrad at Western Michigan out in Kalamazoo. I have a lot of friends around Michigan. One of my best friends lives outside of Ann Arbor as a fixed wing pilot. He really wants me to come up there and teach him how to fly or to watch that. So maybe this summer I'll go up there and fly. Jeremy, thanks for the question. And if you know of a good spot, let me know because I'd be happy to check it out.
Well, if you ever want to go flying, they've got a really good fly-in that just happened Memorial Weekend at Torch Lake, way up north. That's a good spot.
Oh, nice.
We were there for 3 years, and this is our first year. We didn't make it just because we had other issues going on. Avery said, foot launch is sexier. Wait a minute, Avery, but we can have more lights on our trikes.
Yeah. And carry more stuff. I mean, if we're doing a camp and fly or something like that, you could carry way more stuff on a trike, or you could strap it to the.
I think trikes are sexy.
Yeah.
Right?
They're sexy launches.
Right. I'm going to break Avery at some point. We work with Avery. He's part of our team.
Better work with him a little bit more.
We're going to get him on the trike at some point. Doggone it. Like, we're going to convert that guy.
Good. Linda's. That's us. Hello?
I'm here.
I hear you.
Oh.
You froze. You kind of froze.
I went down.
Sarah Mom says she feels sexy on the trike. Oh, girl.
She's on a tandem. Oh, and speaking of tandem, more Debbie Downer news.
Yeah.
I asked Gata where the heck she's been, and she went to Turkey a while ago. And then the last show, she and her son weren't feeling good, so they flew over by mom and dad in Egypt. Take care of both of them. And then today or yesterday, I got a hold of her. I think it was this morning. I got a message from her, and she said they're still there. And she said that 3 people that she knows over there have just recently had bad accidents where they died. One of them was, I believe, a foot launch, and the other 2 was on a tandem. So I don't know what's going on, but everybody needs to just take a step back and think about yourself and not showboating. And I don't know, I wasn't showboating because it was a minute into my takeoff. So just take a step back and check everything. I don't know what's going on, but I don't want to hear stuff like this. Yeah, Jeremy says, who's gotta? Dr. G, sorry. Sorry, Dr. G, that's right.
Yeah, that's not great news because my girlfriend and I are going to Egypt on this next one in October. So hopefully they get it all ironed out by then.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's bad news for the folks out there. Hopefully it's, I don't know what would cause that, but.
Yeah, and my condolences to the East Coast people a couple of weeks ago also. So, and the families, I'm so sad and sorry to hear that. So, all right. So, what do you prefer, trike or foot launch?
I prefer foot launch. I like. I know. I love them both. I love them all.
Yeah.
They're all for different reasons, right? I think you can't. It's a really hard question to answer for me because I like foot launch for the takeoff. I love the takeoff of a foot launch. I love to fly around, feeling unencumbered or whatever. But I love the landing of a trike and the non-sweaty portion of a trike. You could still fly the same, right? People, and there's another thing that, people have a misconception about trikes is that they need a huge runway to take off. You really don't, right? You take off in about the same distance as a foot launch pilot does. The little place that I live here, I have a lot of hazards. So I've got a pond, trees, I've got stuff, right? It's not a flat open space. It's not for the faint of heart, my little takeoff zone. I'm going to level it at some point. But I can take off in the same distance, foot launch or trike, right? And so for me, if I could somehow take off foot launch, fly around, and then put some wheels down and come in like a trike, that would be optimal. But I think somebody actually tried to do that a few years ago and screwed themselves all up, tried to invent some kind of pants or something like that with retractable tires. But long story short, I love them both, but I like foot launch a little bit more.
Yeah. I only trike because I had a bad knee starting out, so that's why I learned. So yeah. Otherwise I would have.
Yeah, the trike is, if you've got some bad knees or you don't want to run or you can't for whatever reason, the trike's awesome. And there's so many different options in trikes now. You have tons of different manufacturers with tons of different tech in them, and you have different things you can do. We fly a lot of them, so I fly different ones. I mean, I have mine that's on a Kanguk frame that I took a old paramotor, a Polini 190, and put on that. We have a PAP one for our school. We have a Fly Products tandem trike. We have an adventure quad also. So we fly all sorts of them. So it's a tough question because even amongst the trikes, I have favorites. You know what I mean? And things like that. Different motors, being a school and with having students that have lots of different equipment, I get to play around with a lot of different wing types, a lot of different motors and things like that. So it's, I love it. I love everything about it, but I think foot launch gets the edge.
Okay. Well, Kat here says she wanted to do foot launch too, but 12 surgical scars from her belly to her mid thigh. I'm definitely a trike girl. That's my girl.
That's right.
Going back up. Red Confetti wants to know, do many travel to paramotor? I never even considered that, but sounds cool. Well, when we started, we went to Bad Apples twice, and we also did Mountain City, fly in there. And we went to Michigan the 3 years there. And we were planning on trying to do Endless Foot Drag in Kansas. Is that so yeah, so people do travel.
Yeah, I did that in COVID.
Oh yeah.
Yeah, I got bored. I worked for a bank, and what I did at the time is I worked for a different bank, but I managed all of the outbound sales for the company. And what would happen at that time is we were face to face all the time. A lot of universities, they were all closed. A lot of the places we were going, they were all shut down. So I put my paramotor on the carrier, and I put a rocket box on top of the car and threw my old dog in the car, and I took off for a couple months and hit 22 states and flew the paramotor all over the place. And I will say, flying in different environments is awesome. And the fact that we can fold up our stuff and put it in a small trailer or the back of our car or your back seat or whatever and take off and do that kind of thing is amazing. So it's I would recommend it for sure if you haven't, because my first flight in the desert was crazy. I took off. I was in the middle of BLM land in Utah, and this is like a movie. I'm in the middle of nowhere, and I pull up, and I find like a reasonably flat area that has no bushes. There's like little scrub bushes or whatever out there, or big rocks or whatever. It's relatively flat. And I'm like, okay, I'm going to send it. So I set myself up, get the windsock going, and up I go, right? And so I start flying around, and I'm like, wow, this is amazing. And the wind was high, it was really windy compared to what I was used to. So I was flying around, I was having a good old time and not paying any attention. And, elevation was really different there. So I fly a Pellini 190 on my trike and on my foot launch max fly. So for my personal motor, so I had a 190 at the time, really powerful, a lot of power to weight. The power to weight ratio is really good. So I'm up flying around, I'm doing my thing. I'm down in these canyons. I'm like, my climb rate's not so great, right? So I'm like, so I'm doing my thing, and I come in and I land, and I look, and in the distance, I see this cloud of dust coming at me, like the heat's doing this. And here comes this truck driving through the middle of the desert right at me, like 100 miles an hour with all this dust flying behind it, just like a movie. It looks like the cartel's coming or something, right? Like in any movie, I'm like, oh no, right? What did I do? So the dude comes up, and he just kind of does one of these and goes in his pickup truck and rolls his window down and goes, was that you just flying up there? And I said, yeah. And he said, oh, cool. I was out here with my camera taking pictures of different things I'm a photographer, and I took some like awesome shots of you. What's your email address? And I tell him, I just shout out my email address. He like scribbles it down. He goes, cool, thanks. And he wheels off. And I'm just like, whatever. And then that night I got a bunch of pictures of myself flying that he took with some crazy lens out in the desert. Although there was also a bunch of pictures of these little like kit foxes that play around in the desert too. So I don't know. He sent me a couple of bonus shots of kit foxes. But yes, that's a long way of saying, I think it's really worthwhile to travel if you haven't. And if you can, just doesn't have to be super far. I know that we're talking about moonshiners in the chat a little bit. Avery wants me to tell the time machine joke too. So when I was going around, people were taking pictures with my paramotor. So I would be at like a national park or whatever, my paramotor would be in the background, and people would be like doing one of these, taking pictures with it. And I would say, do you know what that is? And they would be like, no idea. Right. And so one time I was parked at this bar, and this dad and his son were coming out, and the dad obviously had been at it a little bit. He'd been drinking, and the son was probably like 9 or 10. And the dad goes, what is that thing? And I said, you know what a time machine is? And he goes, no way. And the son goes, oh my God, Dad. Like so disappointed. He's like, Dad, like like this. And I was like, no, it's a paramotor. And he's like, oh, okay. So yeah, if you ever want to have a lot of fun, tell somebody it's a time machine. Just see what happens. The guy was like, no way, like it was real. It's really
Good
sad.
idea.
But I saw some ladies, there was like 4 ladies. And keep in mind, I had taken the harness off, right, to travel. I had taken the prop off. And I had taken, I think at this time I still had the cage on, right? So I had, there's no prop, there's no seat. It's just a motor on a frame with like the hoop on the back of my carrier. And there's 4 ladies like arm in arm at Devil's Tower or whatever, taking a picture with my paramotor. And I just was walking my dog out there going, I don't know, who knows what they're thinking. So really funny. Yeah, tell them they're time machines, Justin. I just saw you. Definitely. It's a thing. I'm 45, Bill.
45.
Yeah.
And how do you juggle a banking job, flight school, and personal life? Jeremy is a banker.
It's a lot. Yeah, it's a lot. I work a lot, like a normal, full-time
Jeremy,
job.
that means you have to work.
Yeah, right. I know. So I got to work. So I do that because you got to afford all this stuff, right? It's not like, and fun fact for those of you out there that don't have a flight school, we don't get rich off of that, right? So the idea is that, you do your normal job. So I do that. And then I have a very understanding girlfriend and friends, and we fly a lot together. So during the week, I can take off from here. We've got a lot of alumni. So our flight school's been going for a long time. We have a lot of alumni, right? We have a really good network of flyers around here. So a lot of my free time, like friend time, is flying and then going to get food after. And then the flight school, we train on the weekends and some nights, right? Because if you can imagine, there's a lot of flight schools out there and several in the Carolinas that have popped up, in the past couple of years that do the week-long thing. And what happens is they do like the week to 10-day situation. We don't believe in that because our weather's so variable. Like I said, we get nil wind and all that, and it's all over the place. So you can't really, I don't think you can guarantee somebody that it's not like Florida, right, where you have laminar wind all the time. You can't really guarantee somebody that they're going to get done with this. So we do the weekends all the time, nights, weekends, like whenever we can. We have 3 different sites. And if you could imagine, like the philosophy is, if you take a self-defense class for a few days in a row, can you win a fight? Probably, right? Are you going to be a great fighter? No. That's why people take martial arts and they go for a length of time. So we kind of make sure that that it burns in, and we work a lot on that. So the balance is that we do that because a lot of our students have jobs and they can't take off, for weeks at a time. So we're kind of like the average Joe's gym on dodgeball, not Globo Gym.
So how is this working? Avery's on here tonight. You're here. Red Confederate's here. Students aren't flying. Teachers aren't flying. No school on Wednesday.
No school on Wednesday. Not tonight.
Oh. Well, thank you. Deweese, you got any questions?
Yeah, I have a question. I know you're planning on going to Egypt, but what places have you been here in the States, and which one was your favorite, if you've been to some?
I've been all over the place. I think my favorite, so it's going to be a really weird answer. Utah was my all-time favorite. I know why there are so many good schools in Utah. It's beautiful. They've got everything, right? Utah's amazing. But I think the best time that I had was in South Dakota. I flew outside of Rapid City at this national grassland, sort of over by the Badlands. And it's where I also took my first collapse, but there was a full collapse. But there's a national grassland, and I had put out on Facebook that I was going to be out there. So as I was traveling around, I was like posting like anybody in South Dakota, right? And this guy, his name was also Ryan. And if he's in, nice to see you again. If he's not, this is what happened. He pings me and he's like, yeah, I'm a fighter pilot and I'm stationed in South Dakota and I fly paramotor. I'll meet up with you. Let's go to this national grassland place. And so I get there and he says, yeah, I talked to the tower. You know, they said that this was the best place to fly from. It's cool. Now, the National Grassland, it has like, you ever see on TV, you never see this in real life for whatever reason, but you see those like 3-foot tall pieces of grass that are all waving in the wind, you know, that's what this looked like. Mesas, the Badlands are right there. It's beautiful. And this guy, he wheels up and he says, yeah, you know, nice to meet you or whatever. And we have a very small runway at this place. We have to lay our wings in the road, and we've got a very small like takeoff spot, and it drops like a cliff off the end, right? So if you're not flying by then, you're gonna have trouble. And there's like a little 3-foot fence at the end. And so he's putting his parajet together, and he's having a heck of a time. And I said, well, let me help you. So we start putting the thing together, and I said to him, so how many flights you got? How long you been flying? He's like, I probably got 10. And I said, 10? You know, like, oh no, right? And he goes, yeah, and I've never done a forward before either. So this is going to be interesting. Right. And I'm just like, oh dear Lord, this is going to be scary. And it's already a really tough takeoff from here. I mean, it's tough. So I walked him out there, and we like got him going, and he did it flawlessly. Like, he took off, looked great, whatever. And I took off and I flew around, and there was like elk all over the place, and like all these different animals all over. There was mesas. I went between the mesas. That's where I had my problems, but it was beautiful. The sky was purple. I mean, it was incredible. So I would say, Weezy, that's my favorite flight, I think, was in South Dakota of all the flights I took.
Yeah, I've been out there. It is beautiful out there.
It's crazy.
We camped
right?
out there. It's gorgeous. Yeah.
Yeah. I never thought about the Dakotas in my life, you know, much. I never thought, well, I should go there. And then when I was going up and around for that trip, I got out there and I went, wow, this is pretty amazing. And then had that flight. And that guy was really nice. And he flew bombers. He was a bomber pilot, originally from Iowa. That's where he learned. And I guess it was super windy in Iowa, which is why he never did any forwards. But he did one. I know I can confirm he did one. And it was a really beautiful forward with me in South Dakota. So, and I had nothing to do with it. I didn't teach him anything. I basically was like, start running. It's going to happen for you.
Well, I know you're glad there were no incidents.
No, and you know what was crazy is, like, in the air, he was like all over the place. Like, he was wild, right? He was carving it up and everything. And I thought, man, for flight number 11, you're really leaving it all in the field here. But his takeoff and landing was really great.
So Red Confetti is asking questions about international travel. So I'm going to tell you the best person to probably ask would be Dr. G when she comes back. Or if you're friends with her on Facebook, message her. And she actually started doing a teardown and taking her own motor over there. So she's pretty willing to help share that. We did a show, I think, on that where she talked about that also, because she was getting ready to go over to Turkey, I believe. So it would have been about a month and a half, 2 months ago that she talked about that. So check with her if you're interested. She'd be willing to help. Or when she ever comes back, we can ask her again.
Yeah, because she knows all about how to suck all the air out of that gas tank and pack it down really tight into the baggage so you don't know it's there and all kind of stuff.
Yeah, I'm not planning to do that when I go. I'm just going to rent. There's no, you know, I have an EFI coming. I have several of my own paramotors, and then we have a bunch for the school. And I have an EFI coming from Kanguk. They got like 5. So Bryant from Kanguk, he's great to work with. We deal them as well. He offered me one of those 5. So I don't want any part of taking that bad boy international and having something seized or broken in transit or whatever after waiting this length of time to get my hands on that. So I think I'm just going to rent one.
Yeah. So
he's going too. Jeremy, I'm going in October, the 12th through the 20th.
Jeremy, when are you going? Oh, and John Wayne says that his wife and granddaughter and son and daughter-in-law are on their way to Greece right now.
Wow.
John Wayne, are you coming up by us yet? Oh, Jeremy said he'll see you there.
All right.
I wonder if Gata will be going back there then too. Do you know her at all, Ryan?
No.
No? She's awesome. Oh, we're down in the basement, and now Eric says he's going to fly towards the house. Please, run outside. Run outside and flash him.
Just right back. You look great up there, and just let him have it.
I'll have Deweese flash you.
Yeah, there's. Oh, it's Justin. Yeah.
You're on mute. This is what Deweese is sitting there laughing on the floor with.
That wouldn't make Eric crash. Oh.
Well, he's not answering, Deweese. So, I wonder if he's doing a solo or not. I don't know. They probably booted Randy out of the back seat, so unless he's doing the Cub. Anyway, so foot launch. Did I miss it? What size wing do you fly with? What do you fly with?
My usual, I fly a lot of different ones because we have so many different wings, and I fly them all the time. My regular one is a 24-meter EZR APCO. I like APCO products a ton. Like we're an importer. I love them. Fly an F3 sometimes. I just flew that F5 with the Mohawk a bunch of times. We have a couple Spedition Mohawk wings that came in. Avery has a cool video. He just reviewed it as well. I fly the hybrid, the APCO hybrid a lot on my trike. It's a great trike wing. It's a, single skin. Most of it's a single skin. And it's not a great foot. I hope I don't make anybody mad in the chat. It's not a great foot launch wing. It comes up. It's like a piece of tissue, right? Like if you sneeze into it, that thing will come up. But but the problem is when you go to land, it has like no flare, and you drop out of the sky. So it's really terrible wing to fly foot launch, in my opinion. But it's amazing to land on a trike because who cares, right? You're coming in great. So I love that one. So those are the APCO wings. And I love the Gin Falcon. That's a 22. The F3 is a 20. I'm trying to think of what else. I mean, we have BGDs. We have all sorts of stuff. So I fly the Gin products. We love too. Most of the time I'm flying in the medium range because that's what we usually have for students to demo and work with and so forth, because it covers the best sort of weight range for the average student or whatever. But big fan of the APCO and Gin products predominantly.
With the single skins, do you have to get a larger wing when they're single skins than you would if it was a regular?
No, not really. I think that one we have is a 20. It might be a 22. I'm overloaded on it.
Uh-huh.
No, you don't need in the APCO single skin, that hybrid is like partial single skin. So it does have cells and everything like that for like a third of it. And then the other 2/3 are single skin.
Yeah.
So it has ribs sewn into it.
Yeah.
So no, you just size it like you would any other wing. And it's legitimately a really fun wing. It's super responsive. The problem that we have, is again, foot launch wise, we always joke around like take it for a flight. You'll just drop out of the sky when you come into land. I mean, it lands like a weird A wing. You got to pound it, right, and then run super hard. But if you're on a trike, it's amazing, right?
Yeah, my husband trained.
It doesn't matter. You're just going to come.
My husband trained with a single skin when he was learning to fly, and he loved it.
Where did he train? Was it at Happy Thoughts?
No, he trained with Kylo Glee in Louisiana.
Yeah. Some places they use single skins in training, especially trike training. Yeah. Yeah, they use them. When we went down to Happy Thoughts a while back to fly trikes and to visit the PAP, but that time when PAP's one of our brands too, we went down there to work on some PAP stuff and visit our distributor back when they weren't direct to dealer. And they got everybody on a single skin.
Yeah.
You know, working on trikes and kiting and so forth. And I think it makes you feel like you're a really great kiter because a single
I
skin
think
is
that's
so
what it
easy
was.
to bring
It's so
up.
light.
But
Yeah.
yeah. But the hybrid is really nice. But most of the time I fly an EZR, an APCO EZR, and I'm thinking about getting a new one. I don't know what though yet. The F3 is really great. I love flying that wing, and I really like the Gin Falcon a lot. But
Yeah.
I don't do any sort of crazy stuff. I'm not on the carb or whatever. I watched Brad Roper on that carb, and it's super inspiring. And I'm like, look at that. But I'm not there, you know.
Yeah. No.
As I just mentioned, we have no wind, so launching the carb would be just a death march, or you know, like the hellscape of trying to run fast enough to launch that thing would be, you know, I even power forward when I take off, and I still don't know that I could launch that in the no wind conditions we get in the Carolinas. So.
Yeah. Bill H says he trained on one at Kylo's, probably the same one that my husband did.
Yeah, the single skins are interesting.
Brian, lost it. Brian says, what do you like about the EZR?
Oh, good question, Brian. The EZR for me, it feels really stable, right? So it's got the racing kit on it. It's got a lot of trim range. It goes really fast. I mean, it bleeds into the F3 and the EZR bleed over themselves for the most part. They have different amount of cells and a different shape and a different aspect ratio, but their speed is very similar, and there's a lot of speed in the trims. It feels really, really stable. It's carvy enough, you know, it is a little heavier. That's the one thing I don't like about the EZR. You have to stay on the A's a lot longer than you do some of the other wings that go that fast. So for me, I feel really stable on it. The landing and launching is super easy. I feel like now the F5 that I was talking about earlier, the newer APCO wing, is basically the EZR that they've replaced with ultralight fabric. It has the same number of cells. It has all the same characteristics. They've just added a Mohawk to it to fix roll oscillation. And I flew it a bunch of times with a trike and with foot launch. And Avery's flown it a bunch of times. He's got that video. Donald, the other guy that owns the school with me, he's flown it. It's really fun. Like, it's really a fun wing. It has racing risers on it. It's got all the fun stuff about it, but it doesn't oscillate. And you could still wing over and everything else. I was doing wing overs on it on my trike. It's a lot of fun, that wing, and it's ultralight fabric. My hope is that they start to make the EZR with the fabric that they put on that F5 and that they're putting on the F3 that's very light, because as it goes, the EZR is a little bit heavy. So that's a long way of saying, you know, I love the EZR for the stability and all that fun stuff. Yeah.
Okay, I hear Eric.
Oh, we're going to get a live stream see what he's doing up there.
Yeah.
Yeah, because I know he's not in the Cub because he was doing 90 miles an hour on our app here. So that's not the Cub unless he's in the wind.
He's in the Cherokee.
Well, he's south of us right now. So, so I turned off the blur, I think. So if he's with his instructor, he'll probably dive bomb us.
Uh-oh.
So, yeah, I turned the blur off. Wait, hang on. Let me wipe my camera off.
Yeah, I think
I'm just blurry.
John Wayne says he flew the F1 once. He won't do that again.
They're playing over by, it's called Lake Alice right now.
The F1 is super fast, and it's made for cross country, so it's not really supposed to be for recreational flying, and we don't fly. The F3 is the F1 Junior. They nerfed it a little bit, and they added a little more safety into the F3, so it doesn't quite go as fast as the F1, and it's got some changes to it. But if you're thinking about that kind of thing, Bill, I don't know what you fly, but the F3 is an awesome wing.
Okay, hang on. Here we go. I hear him coming over. Powering up. It's the Cub.
Oh, it's the
See it?
Cub?
There it is.
Oh, there they are.
Oh, that's just Eric. Cool.
How about that?
That was just him. That's cool. Sorry, we did that last year too. He made me sit out here and they flew by when he was in
Avery
training.
said he's going crazy fast if that's a Cub.
It is. It's a
Must have a
1946.
tailwind. Maybe he's got a little tailwind.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's
Jeremy wants to know what's the best way to clean off carbon buildup on the piston and head.
this is where I'm going to be. I haven't really had to do it.
Oh.
So I don't know what kind of oil you're using. This is going to be funny because of the age-old oil debate, right? That everybody has. I use AMSOIL. We're an AMSOIL dealer, and I've broken down my two. I have 3 190 motors, and took 2 of them all the way down, and there was literally no carbon. So I've never had to scrape it off. Okay, so I use Sabre, 50-to-1 Sabre in all of our engines for the school and my personal ones, and so does Donald. And we've never had any buildup. I mean, there was a little on the one side. I sanded it off, like really light sand, on the edge, but it wasn't hardly anything to speak of. I didn't have to scrape on it, or some guys have told me that they used a razor blade to scrape it off, and things like that. So like when you think about oil, I have a really interesting article about these 2 oils. We do a newsletter for Mojos, and I did a comparison of all the science behind all of the different motor oils. And when you're dealing with something like, the oils that they recommend for the Vitarazi products, they're easy to get in Europe and kind of tougher to get over here in modal. Their flash points higher, the 800's higher than the motor's maximum, temperature. So you're not really burning it off. So they tend to get deposits unless you're flying slalom or some crazy stuff. So typically the 700, it doesn't perform as well as the Sabre. The racing bike stuff like Dominator and so forth are the same way. So if you fly aggressively, you'll be cool. If you don't, you'll get some buildup. And the Sabre is, it's fantastic. And it has a stabilizer in it. So you never get that like bad gas stuff that everybody talks about. If you go on Facebook and you look at it, people are like, I think I had some bad gas. Well, you don't have bad gas if you have Sabre because it stabilizes. You could keep it forever. But anyway, I don't know exactly. I used very light sandpaper to take the tiny bit off that I had on there, but the thing was still shiny. One guy that I know took a razor blade to it and was scraping it off. So I don't know what the best way is. I would just switch to Sabre myself, and then you don't have to deal too much with it because your buildup won't be as big. It'll burn off and go out your exhaust, which is what you want. It's a great question. There's a good group of people asking a lot of great questions in here.
Yeah, there are. Other than Jeremy. Kidding.
Poor Jeremy.
Don't pick on
He's
Jeremy.
from Detroit, Michigan.
Oh.
I'm kidding.
Now I can tell my parents who's flying over their house, because they're always like, yeah, I see guys flying over there. There's like a little airport or an abandoned airport or something. I think they're flying from a couple miles north. So I think that's probably where he's flying from, if that's the case. And I did tell my dad I was going to go up there and bring my motor and fly from wherever that place was. So it sounds like I got to meet up with Jeremy. Plus, we're going to wind up in Egypt together from the looks of things.
Yep.
Yeah.
That'll be fun.
Yep. Sure will.
Yeah. Who's using what oil? Let's get into that. Is anybody using modal?
God, I don't remember.
Yeah, right.
I don't know what Randy puts in ours.
See, Michiganders rock. I completely agree.
That's Paramom. She lives up in let me think. I can't think. She's way north. She's south of the bridge about an hour.
Oh, sure. South of Mackinac Island Bridge?
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Yep.
Jeremy says your parents are correct, but it's not abandoned. It's very
Yeah.
busy municipal airport. Please don't
Yeah.
fly there without getting the airport briefing.
I wouldn't dream of it. We train out of a small airport, so we have we're very familiar with the airport stuff. All of us carry av radios. We talk to the airport. I live like 2 miles from an airport over here as well, and sometimes I call it in. I call it in just to let them know I'm in the area because they train, like what's going on at Jade's. They train pilots over there, so they fly the pattern sort of over my house. And so once in a while, I'll call it in if it's particularly busy, just to let them know that I'm in the area, and things like that. So the airband radios and the av radios are essential for us, especially if you're going to be flying around airports. You always gotta talk to them and be safe. They really appreciate it. And I've had a few close run-ins. I had a guy circling me in a Cub, as a matter of fact, circling me a bunch of times when I was out here one night. And he was just looking at me. I could see his face. And I finally had to say, I don't know what you're doing, but I can't fly through that. So like, you're going to kill me if you don't stop circling me. I just have to stay spiraling in the middle of this. And he just took off. So it was nice to have the radio. I think he was just checking me out. I don't think it was attempted murder. I think he was like interested, but there's a lot of us that fly out here. Ben Lorenzi, Paramotor NC. Yeah. I think, Jade, you know Ben.
Yep, we know Ben.
Yeah, Ben's farm's like literally 1.5 miles from here.
Oh.
Yeah, he lives in the area. We fly together all the time. He was one of our students here at Mojos.
Okay.
And he
Tell him I say hi.
I will. Yeah, he lives right there. So when we fly, if I go up and make a, turn to my 4 o'clock, I'm at Ben's house in like 1 minute in the sky. So
yep.
Yeah.
So Scuba's asking, oh, and by the way, thank you, Scuba. Scuba said I look 20 years younger. Deweese, you should have come outside. If you come outside, you look 20 years younger.
Oh, my computer is dead. I had to plug it in.
Where did it go? Does Ryan like low flying or higher flying?
I like low flying. I mean, so I think this is a really complicated question. Obviously higher is safer. And I do like flying high in the morning so I don't disturb my neighbors, or if I'm going somewhere, or if I just want to like cruise around and see things. I love flying high. But I go low sometimes. I live around a lot of crop fields, so I get low once in a while in there, especially in the fall. So I like them both for different reasons, but I think it's obviously really fun to fly low. But like I said, we get a lot of rotor because there's nothing but trees and obstacles and elevation changes here. So the safer bet is always up high. So it just really depends what I'm doing. That's a great question. I think a lot of people, when they first learn, they go really high. They always say, oh, I'm going to stay low to the ground because it feels safer, but it's really not, because you have no time to react, right? If anything goes wrong, you're low and you don't really have anything you could do. So you go really high. So the average student's flying at 2,500 feet because they get really high. They just stay on the throttle and they're like, I'm going for it. And they wind up really high. And then they're up there, right? And there's safety because you feel like you have more time to correct something. If there's an issue, you have, you throw your reserve, you have plenty of time to think it through. When you fly a lot more, I think you start going low, you stay low over items, you start trusting the equipment more with more seat time. And with me, it's the exact same thing. When I first learned, I wanted to go high. I was like 3,000 feet every flight. I was up there. I was a spec because I didn't want any part of it. I wanted the maximum amount of time to throw that reserve or think it through or untangle something, if anything went bad. Eventually, getting low is a little bit more fun, but it's obviously got some risks and so forth. So great question. I think it's a you see a lot of videos, every video where somebody hurt themselves, they're flying low. And I think everybody needs to know, everybody needs to think about that, right? Like there's very few crash videos do you ever see where somebody's up super high and they had a bunch of time to work through it. There you go, right? Where you get the there you go. Thanks, Jason. But like when you're up really high, you never see crash videos that somebody comes down from 4,000 feet and hits, right? It's always 80 feet off the ground. We've had a lot of famous people or a lot of crash videos where people are 70, 80 feet off the ground or doing low acro or something. And they wind up hurting themselves. So, you know, just if you're low, you just got to be careful. I think low acro is one of the dumbest things you can possibly do in powered paragliding, and absolutely unnecessary. If you're going to do something, get some altitude. Anyway, nobody asked, but that's just my take on that. Oh, there we go. Moontown Airport. That sounds like a track on Moontown Airport. Sounds like a track on Mario Kart, doesn't it? Sounds like Mario. I didn't even know that was a place, John, but I'm glad you put that out there. Is anybody going to Moonshiners this year?
I'd love to go back.
There, now Jade's
Yeah,
got some audio scuba.
Sorry, I was muted. I was saying, Nightbot is saying, everybody hit that thumbs up. Please do that for Ryan. And I'd love to go back to Moonshiners and see that place. That was so beautiful there.
Moonshiners is wild because you can take off in two directions. So a lot of times you look and the windsocks are going in opposite directions on different parts of that point. And I saw some crazy stuff a couple of years ago there. But I think we're gonna have a fair amount of us from the Charlotte area.
Were you there 3 years ago?
Yes.
Then we were there. What end did you stay on?
That was the year that I camped in a tent. So I was, if you're
pulling in,
looking at, if you're at the hangar where the food was.
Yep, to the left.
Left.
Okay, we were at the far right end where the hangar ends, right on the lip there. That's where our spot was.
Nice. Yeah, that was, I saw some crazy stuff.
Yeah, two campers down.
That was wild. Were you there when that guy? Oh, sorry, go ahead.
Oh, two campers down from us. Their wind flag was flying one way and ours was flying the opposite way. Yeah. You know what I would do?
Yeah, we were standing in the area over by the tents and taken off, you know, towards let's say towards the middle, right? Towards the campers or where like the vendor setup was. And then the other side was going this way. Yeah. So I watched some guy run super far and almost run over a guy that was ready to take off on the other side, right? Because it was like, if you didn't get up by a certain point, you were going into taking off with a tailwind.
That was the year.
And then the trike folks, you know, would go way down past the campers. So like where we were, you know what I mean? You probably did it, right? Did you fly there? So I mean, assume you flew there, right? So you probably went way down, and the trike people went way down to that clearing and were taking off towards the other way, which the windsock was doing. So it's a really fun, it's a beautiful place. And the morning flights there are amazing because you could definitely get above the clouds.
Yeah.
Oh, John said that guy crashed next to you. I saw a guy like face it.
There's a guy that broke his leg there that year.
Yeah, there was and then there was some people that the very first guy that I saw fly was like in the middle of the day. There was this guy, I don't know who he was. He was an older gentleman, and he foot launched at like 2 o'clock in the afternoon, and everybody started cheering. And the guy went up and flew around and promptly just ate it. He came in and just ate it really hard. And I was like, well, we're off and running then. But it's a yeah, Bill, you're right. It's a tough takeoff. But once you get up, it's beautiful. And the morning flights, I would recommend not sleeping in. Get the morning flights at Moonshiners. You'll get above the clouds. It's like there's only like 6 people flying. Nobody wakes up. So it's really a good time. Yeah. So this time.
Don't expect to, if you're going to go to a fly-in, don't expect to sleep in. Because one, you're either going to get buzzed and you're just going to have everybody waking you up anyway, and you're going to be pissed off. But go out there and enjoy it. Go out there and hang with everybody, even if you're not flying. Yeah. So there's so much fun.
You can sleep late another day.
Yeah.
Yeah, and you have all day to mess around because you really can't do anything all day there. So like you go back to bed, right? Try to
Yeah.
take a nap later on.
Yeah,
Up
take a
until
nap.
like
That's it.
9 o'clock, 10 o'clock.
Yeah.
We got wineries there. They got a really good Mexican place there that we had a birthday party at, and fun stuff to do in different towns. So
Yeah, I think that year some people landed like in the parking lot of the Mexican place. Somebody landed like by that grocery store.
we
I think
talked
that
about going there, but we didn't. Our
I
group.
think somebody accidentally did it.
Oh,
Yeah, I think they had a motor out and they landed in that parking lot. I was pretty sure because I was like, oh, somebody landed there, and they were like, no, accidentally. They had to get picked up, and I was like, oh,
oh.
it happens.
Travis, I
But
don't
yeah.
think they have 3 cheese curds at Moonshiners.
Travis doesn't like Wisconsin cheese curds that aren't deep fried.
Do they make a cheese curd quesadilla? I know curds don't melt, so I'm assuming no, but
Oh, curds will melt.
they will.
Yeah. Yeah, it just takes them a little bit longer and squeaky on your teeth, Travis.
Yeah.
Then you know they're fresh. He's like puking now.
Yeah.
If Jade is there, she tries to poison Travis. I gave you birthday cake.
Don't eat at Jade's camper.
I don't know what he's talking about. Putin. Oh, you want French fries and gravy? Blech.
Is that what that is?
Poutine. Is that what that is?
Yeah.
How do you say it?
Poutine.
Poutine.
Don't you just call
I
it
didn't
French
like
fries
that.
and gravy?
Yeah. It's basically like it's like mashed potatoes, only fries, I guess, right? I think they just put gravy on it.
Yep, and Linda, she ate alligator before, and we just told her, just try it, and her son got a little snack, like an hors d'oeuvre thing of alligator.
Uh-oh, she's froze.
Yep.
He goes, it was alligator. They were Michigan alligators too, Linda.
Michigan alligators?
Yep, because that's
I
where she
never
had
saw
it,
one of those.
right?
I never saw a Michigan alligator.
Uh-uh.
Although it's not out of the question if the hurricanes brought the flamingos to Wisconsin.
I'm serious. They did. They were down by Milwaukee. No, really. Along the Sheboygan area. They were along that area for a couple weeks. And even my cousin down in the Chicago area said she saw the news article on the 2 flamingos were up in the Wisconsin area.
Oh, shoot, that's not the one I meant.
Wisconsin alligators are muskies. Yep, definitely, John Wayne.
Pike, right? Don't pike look like alligators?
Pike are the
With all
long,
the teeth.
skinnier ones.
Yeah.
Muskies are the monsters.
Oh, really?
Yep. There's big ones.
Oh, Tyler, any plans for a Mojo fly-in?
Yeah.
Not anytime soon. There was a fly-in here in Charlotte a couple years ago called Fly It If You Got It. And that was hosted at Rebel Field, which is this amazing field that we used to have access to. We didn't host it, of course. It was the local Charlotte pilots. And there was some trouble with the neighbor, even though we'd been flying there for years and people had been flying there for years. And promptly the fly-in was the reason that nobody flies at Rebel Field anymore and we're not allowed to. So we haven't recovered from that, the local Charlotte folks. There's no fly-ins planned in this area yet, but I won't say never, but it's we do like the little micro ones, right, where some people will come to somebody's house and several people will camp out and fly, and we'll do some camp and flies and stuff like that. But there's no plans for any sort of fly-ins that I'm aware of. We're definitely not hosting anytime soon ourselves. Fly-ins are a lot of work, man. They're really a lot of work. The people that put those on.
Yep.
It's a lot.
Speaking of that, Eric and I will be having our 3rd annual and probably our last, but we'll still have them. We're having the car show also, and then we're doing a plane show this year too. We're letting people bring in planes and letting them show them off too. So, again, anybody who wants to come this year, it's $25 camping fee. no fee for flying. You're on your own, and it'll be just boondocking. So, but you'll have a bathroom in the terminal that you can use, and there's a shower in there also. So,
When is it, Jade?
oh, the last weekend of June. It's June 28th, 29th, and 30th. Yep, and the 30th on Saturday, I nominated Deweese to help me do the pancake breakfast this year because I'm getting stuck doing that. And that'll go till 11. And then one of my friends is going to be doing a lunch type thing. And I'm trying to get a cheese curd guy there. So, Travis, come on up. I know, Scuba. No reason. So, we'll see how it goes this year. And just continue it the way we're doing it this year because we put so much into it last year with Eric buying all these pork roasts, and we had a cook-off, and we ended up giving like 3 of the pork butts that were smoked to the homeless shelter. They were very thankful for that, but yeah, it was just kind of didn't have a lot of people there participating in that and hanging out. So, but we did have more people, twice as many people last year as we did. So
you said you're bringing a curd person. So is it BYOP, like bring your own poutine if you're putting curds on it? I think I saw some curd people wanted to put curds on their poutine in the
maybe.
Yeah. You need a gravy. You need like a gravy station.
I thought he was talking, he spelled it wrong. Boudin. I like boudin from the South.
I brought you some boudin.
I know. I can't wait to have it. Have you ever heard of that, Ryan?
No.
Oh my gosh, that's so good.
Explain that.
It's some kind of, I'm not exactly sure exactly what it is, but some kind of sausage from Louisiana that's got rice and some kind of meat and I don't know, spices, so, Cajun spices in it, and it's wrapped in a intestine of some kind, like a sausage, like a sausage, and you grill it.
To me,
it is so yummy. Huh?
The rice is inside the sausage?
Yeah, yeah.
This is like Pittsburgh, who puts the fries inside the sandwich. This is similar to that.
To me,
yeah,
it
it's all inside,
like
and you can grill it, or I don't know what else you could do with it.
To me, it tastes like a stuffing brat with stuffing, like stuffing, Thanksgiving stuffing. That's what it tastes like to me.
Inside of a sausage? That sounds like the perfect food.
Yeah. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got all kinds of stuff in it. Yeah.
Bill H says, "Yep, Louisiana food."
Yep.
Oh, here
Travis says onion, peppers, liver, pork, synthetic casing.
Wait. Liver?
I guess so. That's part of the meat. You'll never know it. Do you know it? Now tell me you don't like it.
Who knows what's in every sausage? The fact that we even know that much about what's inside of it is a miracle in itself.
Chicken beaks.
Right.
Sometimes it's best not to know what's in there. Yeah.
Right?
Yeah. Here are the parts I can
Still
identify. Good. Rice, some sort of meat, spices.
Yeah.
That's all you need to know.
Yeah. It's all stuffed in there and we like it.
That's right.
And Red Confetti says he wants to meet Kyle O. So yeah, where the heck is he?
I met him at He's taking time off for the summer.
Oh, he came and met me at the Oshkosh and pounded on the door and ran into the bedroom and scared the crap out of me. And that's the last I've seen of him.
I don't know what he's up to. He's off for the summer, I think, because it's so hot in Louisiana. He'll be back to work in September. I don't know if he's traveling or what he's doing. He does that. He may be back to Oshkosh in the summer.
That'd be cool.
Yeah.
At least I wouldn't be hiding in the camper or the back dying. I put the code up there if anybody wants to join us and ask Ryan any questions instead of doing
John Wayne says his last video, he busted fly time and probably went to jail.
Anyway, his last video, he busted fly time and probably. It's
So
not
he's
good.
incarcerated. That's the theory, is that Kylo hasn't been anywhere because he's incarcerated.
Yeah.
Yep.
The rumor mill has just started. Nobody posts
Yep,
that
that's it.
anywhere.
Right.
I don't think he's in jail. I don't know.
Well, otherwise, if nobody wants to join in, we
Yeah.
can let you go, Ryan. So,
Yeah, if anybody wants to join, speak now or forever hold your peace, I guess.
Yeah, you've been a really nice guest. Very,
yes.
very
Thank you.
informative.
It's a lot
Thank
of
you very
fun.
much.
Nice guest.
Thank you for having me. It's been a really good time, and really easy to talk to both of you, and we had a lively chat. So really appreciate the time and getting a chance to be on the show. And
Yeah.
Yeah. Anytime
definitely.
you want to come back, just let us know.
You got it. And if you're down at Moonshiners, I'll run into you both live then.
Oh yeah.
I guess it's up at Moonshiners.
Yeah.
Down for Jade,
Up and
for-
over.
Yeah.
Down for me.
Up and over and up and over, right?
Yeah.
Absolutely.
So, stick around when the outro's done, Ryan. Okay.
You got it.
All right. Thank you. And in 2 weeks, I don't believe we have anybody. So I'll have to double check that on the calendar. But remember, we're every other week during the summer right now. Deweese and I are hanging out, trying to play bingo and go to water ski shows and do some airport flying. And oh, one thing I got to tell you guys. So Randy got a remote control airplane, and Eric was training him as he had Randy on a trainer where they had separate little remotes. Well, we get a picture of Randy's plane in the trees. The trees that I should have landed in when I crashed instead of hitting the concrete or the blacktop. They couldn't get it out, and the 70-mile-an-hour winds from the storm didn't shake it out. So they went and bought some PVC piping that wasn't far enough to get it to get up there.
About
So,
60 foot of PVC pipe, and that didn't reach
60
it.
feet. Yeah, they were too short. So how old is Randy?
He's just turned 68.
68?
Uh-huh.
68-year-old is freaking Eric out, and Eric's yelling at him because he climbed 40, 50 feet up into the tree and got his airplane out yesterday.
Ever how high that plane was, he got it.
Yeah. So Randy did it, but this morning he said he was a little sore.
Bill H said he could climb it.
Yeah.
That sounds like a fly-in time passing adventure, Bill. People that have nothing to do all day, sometimes they go in the river. Sometimes now they'll just be climbing trees to see who can climb the highest.
That sounds to me like crazy men that do that.
Yeah. Oh, and don't forget, tomorrow night is Paramom's second show on YouTube. Lindy's Treehouse. She talks paramotoring, and I told her she needs to talk other things besides paramotoring too, like her paintings that she does and stuff like that. So, but she loves us paramotor people. So if we can help her out too. Oh, third show. Well, the first one really wasn't a show, Linda.
Yeah, so if you guys have other hobbies that you do or things that you enjoy, get with Linda and see if you could talk with her about getting on her show to talk about it.
I mean, it's just like that night that we had the beekeeper on. She was awesome.
Yeah, there's other things that we do that would be interesting for Linda.
Yeah, definitely. So, all right. 2 weeks. See you guys all. And Ryan, thank you so much.
Thanks,
Have a good night, everybody.
Good night, everybody.
We make new friends. We fly with new friends, flying up high in the sky. With a paramotor on our back, soaring an airplane high above the clouds. We make new friends. We fly with new friends, flying up high in the sky, with a paramotor on our back, soaring in